Hello everybody, and welcome back to Winchips Electronics Repairs. Today, we are going to be doing a LCD only replacement on this on this Samsung A16. This Samsung A16 has a completely shattered glass, which has caused damage to the LCD underneath, thus the whole thing will need to be replaced. Traditionally, when you're working on these, the easiest way to do it is to buy the entire chassis with the frame pre-attached. That is the way I traditionally do it, but for the sake of doing this video and saving the client a little bit of money on parts, we're going to go ahead and do a screen only repair. This right here is our screen. This is just a screen that we got off of AliExpress. Nothing too fancy, but it's enough to get him back in commission and accessing all of his photos and everything that he has to access. So, without further ado, what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up the back plate here. We're going to disconnect the battery and we're going to disconnect the screen. Then we're going to apply a lot of heat and we're going to get this screen out of the way. So without further ado, we're going to get some actual heat on the back of the phone here, and then we're going to get this open. Okay, that should be enough heat for us to work with, so now we're going to start prying. Just got our little pry tool here, just a simple razor blade. I'm going to go ahead, in on the edge, you'll feel it go in, and this is plastic, so you do got to be a little bit careful with it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get this opened up. Okay, just like that, we got that off. So we're going to go ahead, get this cleaned up here, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and get the rest dealt with. Okay, so now that we got that all cleaned up, we'll just go ahead and set that aside over here for now. What we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and get this bottom opened up here. This is where our screen connector is going to be, and then we can go ahead and start looking in there. Okay, so with the back glass, or sorry, I guess the back plastic off, and these bottom screws removed, we're now going to go ahead and move up to these top screws here, and we're going to get these off. Okay, so now with all of these screws removed, our next step is going to be disconnecting this little connector here, just like so. And now we're going to go ahead, get this SIM card out. So just use your little SIM tray tool, get that in there, and it'll pop right out for us. Perfect. Now our next step, now that we have all the screws removed and accessories, is going to be removing this mid-house frame here from the frame of the phone itself. Now the easiest way to go ahead and do that is just going to go ahead, bring back that same pry tool, and you're going to stick it right in between the plastic and the glass. And you will see slowly but surely it is going to start separating. Okay, and now with most of it removed, you can probably go ahead and wiggle the rest off here. Now, keep in mind that you do have this power button, so just be wary of that. Make 100% sure that you do actually unplug that, because if you don't unplug that and rip your cable, well, then you're going to need a whole new mid-frame housing. Okay, so now with this like this, at this point, you would normally take all of your components and replace them and put them in a new frame. But like I said, since we're going to be doing it with the LCD only, we're going to go ahead down here, we're going to disconnect this bottom board. I'm going to disconnect here up on the top here just to keep it away. And while we're at it, we're also going to disconnect the battery while we install the new screen. So with those out of the way, we'll see this here is our screen connector. It is actually right down here. It gets held on with a little bit of adhesive. It's not actually part of this board, so you can actually just go in with a little razor blade here and pop it right out, just like so. So now with this like this, we officially don't have to do anything else on the back of the phone. If you want, you can go ahead and remove this board. It's only going to make your life easier, but it is not necessary. So now we've come down to the nitty-gritty of having to get this screen off. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, get some heat on this, and then we'll be right back once we get this heated up and ready to come off. Okay, so now that we got some heat on this device here, we feel it's nice, warm, toasty on both sides, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the glass off. Now, it's a little tricky because it's recessed in here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try to be as gentle as possible. But it is inevitable that we are going to break some glass, so we're just going to go ahead and do our best to contain whatever mess this is going to make. Okay, so we were able to get that screen off, so you'll see it just nice, plain, clean under here. It's never an easy process, so I just cut most of it out. You'll see, judging by the amount of shards of glass and LCD panel and everything here, it's not a clean or an easy process, but it all came out and we got it off. You're almost never going to be able to salvage a screen if you remove it in the fashion that I did. There is select ways of being very careful, very delicate when you're doing it, but when a replacement screen only costs, I mean in this case this costs like $20, there's not really any sense to try and protect a screen that's already cracked, so we just go ahead, take it out. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and we're going to grab our screen here. Just make sure there's nothing underneath of it. And we're just going to go ahead and test fit this in. I don't have any adhesive on, so this is just going to be purely a test fit, and we're going to ensure the functionality of the phone. So we'll go ahead and get that underway. Okay, perfect. So we can see that that's coming on there now. So that proves to us that the new screen is in working order. And now all we have to do is go ahead and get her all glued down and buttoned up. Okay, so now that we've tested that and confirmed that it is working, like I mentioned before, we're just going to go ahead and get this buttoned up, which involves me dropping down healthy doses of glue throughout most of this device. So I'm going to get that done, and once I get that all set and all the glue is cured, we'll be back for the final testing. Okay, so now that we got everything reassembled and all back together, and I did do the testing off camera, so we will see here it turns on, it works just fine. I am going to have the screen blurred just because that is a family picture and I don't want that on the internet. But other than that, we're all good to go. That was a complete LCD only repair. Really quite simple. You just got to tear the phone down, and you don't have to remove any of the board components. You don't have to remove The battery, you don't have to remove any of that because you're still using the frame. And all you gotta do, take off the back, take off the mid frame, take off the screen, and then you just gotta glue the new screen back down, put it all back together the same way you took it apart, and that's that. Nice and simple. Other than that, that concludes this repair on this Samsung A16 5G LCD only. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down in the comments section. And if you'd like to see any other specific repairs, please let me know and I will do my best to track those down for you. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in to Winship's Electronics Repairs.